Hello and welcome to Your New Jersey. I'm Lisa Marie Falbo. On today's show, as the school year comes to a close, we're diving into the success of Montclair State University this past year. I am so thrilled to welcome Montclair State University President Jonathan Koppell. Under his leadership, Montclair has seen record-breaking enrollment, expanded access to affordable education, and became a statewide leader in community engagement. President Koppell, thank you so much for being here.
It's absolutely great to be here. I'm excited that you're talking about our fantastic student journalists. As you know, we have a history of producing great journalists at Montclair State University. So, of course, I'm talking about the host of this show, but you know many others who've come out of that great program. So excited for people to see how great our students are.
Well, full disclosure, I graduated from Montclair State 19 years ago. I cannot believe that. And I say to this day, Montclair State was one of the best decisions I ever made in life. I truly believe that because I told you off camera, I was a transfer.
Right.
I just happened to be on campus and just felt the pull and the connection. And once I met my fellow broadcast students and the teachers, I'm like, this is home. And it laid such a groundwork for my career, and I'm forever thankful.
It's so funny. When I talk to students, I always ask students, why did you come to Montclair? And I would say a majority are like, well, I wasn't sure, but I came and visited, and I knew I needed to be here. This was the place.
It's a vibe.
This was the place for me. It's just somehow the feeling, it makes people feel comfortable. They feel at ease. And so that feeling, which we've kind of leaned into and said, let's cultivate a feeling of belonging, that's the kind of feeling that puts people in a position to be successful.
Absolutely.
And so it's not just a nice place to be. I think it's a precondition to be academically successful.
The teachers care. They set you up for success after graduation, and they teach you not like a teacher, but like a professional.
Right. That's what we're going for. That's the student journalists, right? They're learning to go into media and communications by doing the work under the supervision of faculty who know how to teach and know how it works. That's I think how people want to learn today. They don't want to be in a classroom and somebody says to them, well, 10 years later you'll use this.
No.
I don't think that works.
No, absolutely not. And you have benefited from the faculty in your beautiful studio that I wish I had.
Sorry we were a little late getting that together.
And we'll touch on that later.
Yeah.
But first I want to just dive into, you've been at Montclair State now for a couple years.
4 years. I'm finishing my 4th year now.
Wow, that went fast.
Yeah, it happens.
Yeah, it does. Life comes at you fast, especially with 2 kids since then, since you started. For me, what has transpired over the past 4 years?
I'm glad because I was like, I don't know about that.
My future Red Hawks.
A ton of stuff going on at the university. Very exciting. By the way, we are growing that College of Communications.
More? How could you possibly grow it anymore?
Because there's so much demand.
Wow.
And because there's hunger. And you know it, that our students, when they graduate, they get jobs. Because they're prepared to go to work and they have good ideas, and everybody knows Montclair State University students are, they're creative and they're hustlers and they get it done.
Yeah,
so that's why it's growing. So I don't know if you're talking about our cooking show as the
okay, we'll dive into it.
I wasn't sure where you wanted to go with that. I know we're going to talk about.
We
that.
wanted to talk about the day job first, but we'll talk about your hobby.
Well, we can do the day. I mean, the day job is pretty exciting because what people don't realize is, I don't want to be the best kept secret, but we kind of are, right? That Montclair is the second biggest university in New Jersey. Only Rutgers is bigger. And what I think is even more exciting than our size is we show how higher education can work for everybody. So we're one of the top universities in the country in what they call social mobility. What that is a reflection of is that our students, regardless of background, they come, they succeed, they graduate, and they get jobs. And sadly, if you look at the predictions of whether people finish college or not when they start, the most telling prediction is about family income and so on, much more than grades, actually. And we outperform our predicted graduation rate by 15 percentage points.
Wow. That's
one of the tops in the whole country. I think, and I'm obviously biased, Montclair is everything that's right with higher education, right? It's accessible, it's inclusive, it's the most diverse place you want to be. It's so cool. There are people from all over the place. It's a very exciting, dynamic community. It's welcoming, as we were talking about. Faculty who are passionate about the students. We're trying to make the learning engaging and hands-on. And then the students, for the most part, get jobs related to the things that they're studying right after graduation. So it's what people want education to be. And since I'm on a soapbox for a second, I'll say a lot of the rub on higher ed is that people aren't making as much money as, I don't know, some critic says they should make. It's wrong to measure the quality of a college degree by how much money somebody makes because, as you know, since you were on campus, a lot of our students, they're not there to be millionaires. They're there to be teachers. They're there to be nurses. They're there to be social workers. They're there to maybe run a family business. They don't necessarily want to go to Wall Street. And so the success is that they're doing things that they love and they're contributing to their community. And yeah, they have a good, solid job that allows them to take care of their family. But the sole measure of a college degree shouldn't be that you're making as much money as humanly possible. That's a really weird mindset that we've created, and I just wish we would be a little bit broader in how we talk about the value of college.
Yeah, and the teachers at Montclair, they keep it real. I know my professors, again, this is 19 years ago, but they're still a mainstay there. You know, they offered me real world advice because they knew I wanted to be a sportscaster. I told you my love of sports off camera. That's what I wanted to be, a sideline reporter. And they're like, yeah, but you know where the real money is? Producing. Yeah. You would be a really good producer. Okay. And I kind of wrapped all of that into whatever it is that I do today. But
turns out you figured out the on-camera thing.
The on-camera, but with the I mean, that's at the end of the day, that's you know,
well, it also gets you into the substance, and it gets you more engaged in the material. It's good.
But they engaged me in the process. You know, when I walked into that school, I just want to be a sideline reporter talking about the Giants. But they exposed me to all the different roles. They made you pitch, they made you storyboard, and I fell in love with the entire process.
That's so cool. I love hearing about people's great experiences on the campus, as you can imagine. That just fills me with joy to hear you say that.
Yeah, me and Joshua Dela Cruz, right? Let's
One of our
let's
superstars.
talk about him. I mean, the superstar. Yeah. I mean, besides Bruce Willis, right?
Especially if you're under 12.
Yeah, yes.
You've got to be a kid or you have to have little kids.
Yes.
And then you know exactly who we're talking
about.
But
Blue's Clues now, I mean, he's the third host. Yeah. Right? So, I mean, Blue's Clues, it's been around for 2 decades.
Yeah. But he apparently has taken it to a different level. And he's charming and very charismatic. And as you know, we did a cooking show, and we'll talk about the cooking show. And it was so much fun to work with somebody who was such a pro. And then pro on camera, and then just a lovely, generous person off camera, met with all these kids that were dying to meet him. Couldn't have been more generous and lovely with them. It was really great.
And he was a graduate of the theater department.
He was, and was on Broadway. Like a lot of our performing arts students go to Broadway, and they're working in the business even while they're in school. I mean, high quality of talent.
Well, that's why Montclair, the proximity to New York, is so huge.
It's a huge plus.
Yeah,
it's a huge plus.
Exactly, and the Kasser Theater.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been to all the theaters now around the Garden State, but Kasser is just so special.
Well, you go to a production of that our students put on. It's a professional production. I mean, and it's not like I'm just saying like the performers are going to be on professional stages the next week. So that's what you're getting there. Yeah.
Absolutely. So we keep talking about this cooking show.
I guess we should talk about it.
I wanna jump in because I just think, and not just because you're here, it's so cool that you are putting yourself out there and marketing the university in such a unique way.
Yeah. It started as sort of an internal community thing, which is, I think when you've got a community of nearly 30,000 students, faculty, and staff, it's hard for people to get to know each other. And they don't necessarily appreciate just the incredible range of experiences and backgrounds that the guy in the office next to them has. And so I decided one way to expose people to each other in a fun way, as opposed to just an article on a website, was what if we did a cooking show where people taught me to cook something that meant something to them. And it shows off in particular the ethnic diversity of the campus. As you know, it's New Jersey, right? So there are people from all over. And one thing about New Jersey is people like to eat.
Yes. We have the best food. New York.
We have the best food, and people like to talk about the food.
Yes.
They like to talk, what's the best diner? What's the best bagel? What's the best pizza? Like, this is a New Jersey thing. So we started doing this cooking show on campus. You'll love it because it's your program. The whole thing is students, everyone behind a camera, everyone editing, everyone directing, faculty member oversees it, but the students produce it. And it worked really well, and people liked it. And so with the election coming up, I was thinking, how do we engage the election? How can we be useful? I very much believe that the university should be promoting engagement in democracy. That's part of our mission. And I say, as a normal school, which was created to train teachers, that's about democracy. It's preparing people for democracy. And so how do we help people engage in the election? And I said, we should do the cooking show with all the candidates for governor. And people kind of said, you think they'll do it? And I was like, sure. Like,
I think it's genius.
well, we wouldn't know if we didn't ask. So we reached
Exactly.
out, and we reached out to all the campaigns, and they all said yes. So we've done a series of shows where each one of the Republican and Democratic candidates have come to campus. We did it at a higher production level in one of our fancy studios that wasn't there when you were a student.
Don't rub it in.
And for that, yes, we had students working on it, but the entire crew, they are all alumni of Montclair State University.
By the way, I know a lot of them that worked
Yeah.
on that. So happy to be back.
Oh, it's pretty
always.
cool. It's
Yeah.
pretty cool. And I sort of said to our students who were there, I was like, talk to them, get advice from them, and it was pretty fun to watch. So we had a series of shows. We've now filmed them all, and they've been airing one a week, including on
New Jersey.
New
yes.
Jersey.
We're so appreciative of that.
So that's exciting. And I think the feedback that we've gotten is really good. I'd be interested in what you've heard, but it's a way to see the candidates as human beings. It's not about politics or policy. We're not talking about tax rates or anything like that. It's who are these human beings that want to be your governor, and what makes them tick? Why do they get involved in public service? What are their families like? And I think it shows a human side to the candidates that you otherwise wouldn't see.
I think it's beautiful because the candidates, when you're on the trail, it's very robotic almost, right? It's very, I don't want to say calculated, but every move is accounted for.
Right.
This is a friendly environment where their personalities can shine.
Yes.
And we've seen in politics, love it or hate it, personality sells.
And you're voting for, at the end of the day, you're voting for a person.
Yeah.
So I think you're right. In most formats, if you're running for office, you're very nervous about what are you presenting and what are the right words I need to say, and is there going to be a gotcha here? And I think by doing the show and making it clear to the candidates, like, I'm not trying to get you, I'm not trying to nail you down on this position. Let's just have fun and do this and tell me who you are. It creates a totally different, relaxed vibe, and in that way, you actually get to see the person. And they're really likable.
Yeah, and they're all, exactly. I mean,
Yeah.
they're not shy people, right?
No,
Yeah,
no,
they all
it's-
have fun.
No, it's not a random draw from the distribution.
Yes.
Right? Like, obviously, anybody who's willing to run for office is comfortable.
Yeah.
But they're different people. You can see that they're different people.
What shocked you during that process? What did you walk away with?
I mean, one thing that's funny is some people really don't cook.
Just get takeout every night?
Yeah, so we had them fill out a little form like, what do you want to cook? What are you going to teach? What are you going to teach the president to cook? And they all sort of came up with something, except Mayor Baraka was like, I don't really cook. I like to eat.
So here's my question.
So we figured something out, and at the end, Roz is like, this is good. Like, I want to make it another time. I was like, sure, we'll call it Salmon Baraka. Like, that's the new name for the dish.
That's so funny.
So, yeah, it was fun.
You could spin off into a restaurant
There we go.
on campus
There we
with
go.
all of this. Were you sweating while doing this? Like, is someone going to cut themselves? Is something going to drop on the floor? I've always been very awkward in those situations.
No, it's good. So it turns out the screw-ups, those are actually the most charming, those are the best moments, because how people react,
yeah.
that tells you a lot about how somebody is in the world.
I'm going to actually ask a semi-political question.
Okay.
What do you want to see from the next governor of New Jersey in relation to Montclair State and higher education?
Well, I think what we need is a recognition in the governor's office and in the legislature that the future of New Jersey is very tightly linked to the future of higher education. If we want to have, the businesses here, the companies relocate, the jobs, the economic dynamism, you need to have universities that are firing on all cylinders. Because first of all, you need to have the graduates who go out and can do great work and that companies want to hire or that are in a position to start new businesses. And you have to have the kind of engines of ingenuity that allow people to start businesses and start firms. And so we've done a good job of investing in K-12 higher education, but to be honest, that hasn't carried forward on the higher ed side, and it holds us back. It holds us back as a state. We are the #1 exporter of college students in the country. Now, I think there's a whole lot of different sociological reasons.
I've noticed that, by the way,
why
that
people
a lot
leave
of
New
these
Jersey.
high school students now, because all these high schools, they have decision Instagram pages. Have you seen that?
Yeah.
That really does a lot for kids' self-esteem, I'm sure. Let me tell you. But I'm like, what? This is a thing?
Yeah.
But they're all going to Texas, Alabama. I'm like, you're in Jersey. Why are you going there for?
Those schools in those states are recruiting in New Jersey like crazy.
Why?
Because New Jersey does a good job of educating our high school students, and in these, as you said, Alabama, Mississippi, Tennessee, South Carolina, they come up here and they try and attract New Jersey students. Why? Because, as I say, they're good students, and there's a competitive advantage because the tuition for in-state students in New Jersey is relatively high because of the funding and how we have to pay. We have to pay for ourselves by charging a relatively high tuition, and so it's kind of easy to pick off a student from New Jersey on a cost basis. The trouble is that 2/3 of the students who leave New Jersey to go to college don't come back. So when you talk about retaining the talent and New Jersey getting the benefit of all the money we spend on K-12 education, it would be better if we kept them closer.
Is it going both ways? Are you seeing an increase of out-of-state at Montclair State?
No, so the short answer is yes. We're seeing an increase in out-of-state students. It's not proportional. It's not proportional, in part because of the cost function. And so that's something that we have to address because that's not sustainable. Right, that's not sustainable. And you've probably read about the demographic cliff and how the number of people going to college in general, nationally, is going down just because of the population of that age. It turns out New Jersey actually is relatively healthy, which makes us even more attractive from other states, right? So when I see university presidents from Virginia and Delaware, and they're like, "Thank you, New Jersey. We love coming to New Jersey and taking your students."
Oh, I don't like that.
Yeah.
Oh, see, I'm learning this whole new.
Yeah. So if we don't take that seriously, it's going to be a real issue for the state.
I do think, though, Montclair State, besides the regular curriculum, you offer a nice trades program. You have the entrepreneurship school. I mean, I feel like you have something for everyone where hopefully a New Jersey student doesn't want to leave.
Yeah, well, students, as you pointed out, when students know about us and they come, they love it. And in fact, I've had a number of students and alumni who say, Montclair, even though it was nearby, I felt like I was going out of state. It's like going to a different place, and I wish more people knew that they can get a lot of the experiences that they think they need to go to Pennsylvania or whatever to get to. I think there's also, this is on New Jersey, so you got to fix this. New Jersey needs a little more self-respect. You don't need to leave New Jersey to get a great education, and it's not just Montclair. We've got a lot of great universities, and so we need people to say, "I'm New Jersey proud, and I'm going to get educated in New Jersey."
Hey, we don't want them to get their news from out of state either.
Right.
That's why the whole channel was born. Because being sandwiched between New York and Philly, we're getting
on somebody else's channel, right?
And if we were our own media market, we'd be top 5. With our population. How do we not have a sustainable media market here in the Garden State? And that's where we feel.
Yeah, and I grew up in New York, and so I have to admit, because I was a New Yorker, I viewed New Jersey as something you drove through on the way to Washington, D.C.
All New Yorkers do. I'm married to one, so I know.
As a New Yorker, I thought the most important road in New Jersey was the Turnpike, because that's how you get to Washington. But What I now know is if you're in New Jersey, the turnpike doesn't matter. It's all about the parkway.
Exactly.
And that, like, so now I get it. Like,
That's
so
how
now
you get to the beach.
it's everything. I thought of New Jersey, and I think a lot of the country does, as a suburb of New York. And obviously there's some truth to that, right? A lot of people commute into the city. But what I didn't appreciate until I lived in Montclair, lived in New Jersey. New Jersey is its own thing. It's its own place. It's got its own communities. It's got its own cool things to do, its own culture, and so on. And I think you're 100% right. We need to embrace that, and that's part of building up the universities and seeing them as great assets. And I want to be clear. Yes, of course, I'm first and foremost talking about Montclair, but there are a lot of really good universities here. I often sort of am puzzled by people who are going out of state, paying more money to go to a school. I'm like, I don't get that. Why would you do that?
I tell my interns, yes, California's cool, and the New York schools are the name brands, right? But the education you will get at Montclair for a fraction of the cost will be the best decision you will make.
Right.
Sometimes they listen, sometimes
well, hopefully
they don't.
they'll watch this, then they'll come check us out, because I know that if they come check us out, they'll be excited about what they find. And I don't want to give the wrong impression. We're growing. We've had record enrollment. We've had record enrollment every year that I've been at the university, and we're investing in a brand new science facility. Why? Because we literally have run out of space to train students in the STEM fields and to do cutting edge research, right? So it's an incredibly dynamic university that's doing well, and thriving. I just want more people. To realize this gem that they have in their backyard.
Well, I think you are doing an excellent job in getting the word out there in your own unique way, because again, you don't see university presidents putting themselves out there like you have.
Yeah, I think that's important. So I do a lot of fun things with the students too, social media type stuff. I did my own hot wings, with the kids.
Yes.
And go on the radio station, and I think it connects people to the university, and it creates this sense of community, which I think is really powerful. We have to be a community unto ourselves, and I feel like universities need to be out in the community very much so. And so we've really engaged, yes, in Montclair, yes, in Clifton and Little Falls, our immediate neighbors, but we're very big in Patterson since I got there. You're a sports person, so you know that we started the Museum of Hinchliffe Stadium, which is another unbelievable gem in our backyard. One of the only Negro League stadiums still left in the country, and we now have the Charles Muth Museum of Hinchliffe Stadium, which is about engaging the community. And we have a whole array of programs in Patterson that really connect the assets of the university to a community that can benefit from them. And my view is, if we're not doing that, we're missing part of our mission. We shouldn't just be an ivory tower that cares all about ourselves. We should be out there and doing stuff, and if people have needs and hopes and dreams, we should say, how do we help you achieve them? That's what we're trying to do. That's what we're trying to do with the university.
And you do. Proof positive.
Good.
Right here.
Good. I'm excited. I'm excited about the opportunity to tell the story, and that I've got one of our number one cheerleaders.
I believe it. My mother
Beating the drum.
is an alum, my cousin, my uncle. I mean,
there are a lot of families like that.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. Multi-generational
Yeah.
in Montclair.
Yeah.
For sure. Where can people find out more about the cooking show first? Where can people watch?
So if you Google Cooking with Koppell, Koppell, you'll find it. It's on our website, where you can get all the information, hopefully about attending the university too, at montclair.edu. And there's a lot of good things to discover. We've touched upon it, but really the tip of the iceberg in terms of all the amazing things going on at our university.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much. I'm sorry I didn't have a fancy kitchen.
I know. I was going to say, what would be your dish? If I have you on the show, what would you be cooking with me?
I would do a meatball.
We already had meatballs.
I know. I would do a meatball. You're talking to someone that would probably cut themselves. I am a good cook.
Okay.
I am. But when I apply myself,
okay.
It's a lot of running around.
You're gonna have to come up with
something
fancy.
A pasta primavera.
Okay, there
with
we go.
fresh vegetables
There
from
we
the
go.
garden.
That sounds good.
Tossed with garlic and oil. That's what I would make with
All
it.
right, we're ready. We'll get you on.
Let's
we'll get
book
you
it.
on the schedule, and we'll be cooking that soon.
I love that. Thank
Excellent.
you so much,
Thank you
Jonathan.
for letting me be here.
Thank you for joining me on another episode of Your New Jersey. I'm Lisa Marie Falbo. We'll see you back here next week.